Market intelligence is essentially looking at consumer trends, market size data, product information, and essentially looking at how that's impacting or how that's impacted by the world. And then we're also looking at how our experts can layer over the top by providing the why as opposed to just the what. So we're trying to provide actionable insight and strategic decisions to companies to help them better navigate the world in which we're living in at the moment.
So to navigate that world, what sort of data goes into forecasting the future?
So we look quite heavily. We've got a range of sources that we look at. Consumer information is definitely primary for that. Mintel are sort of the experts in what consumers want and why. We've also got trend data that we put into that, market forecasting, and we also bring in external information as well, such as economic and government. And as I said, we layer that with that level of expertise that we've got around the world with our analysts.
Well, let's bring all that back to our industry. Why then is market intelligence essential to food and drink companies and manufacturers?
Yeah, a big part of that is about staying ahead of the game. Obviously, no one could have predicted a black swan event like COVID. In today's day and age that we're living in, there's so much going on. Market intelligence provides, I guess, an anchor for companies to navigate themselves or to keep themselves stable in a world that is changing dramatically and consistently. We were actually talking to a client the other day who said to us that one of the challenges that they've got is that they're unable to travel. So normally they travel, they look at products around the world, they speak to consumers, they're unable to do that. So market intelligence and Mintel in particular allows us to be able to give them that information so they can continue to move forward in their business.
Which industries would you identify as the ones that are facing big opportunities as a result of COVID-19?
Yeah, it's a great question, actually, and it's something we get asked quite a lot. So where are the industries that we should be looking at, or which industries are going to grow as a result of this? You've obviously got the ones that we're looking at the moment. So we've seen growth in some of the CPG space, and obviously we've seen growth in e-commerce. But one of the sort of things that Mintel sort of looks at is the sense that any company has an ability to take advantage of a situation like this or to grow in a situation like this if they're able to pivot, to adjust, to innovate in this space. So that's something that we see as really important. And that's why I think market intelligence is sort of that key aspect there, because we can provide them with the data, with the understanding of how the consumers are behaving and being able to really target that area.
What advice would you give any businesses who may be brave enough to look at expanding in 2020?
Understand the market. Don't go in blindly. I think research and market intelligence is good at any time, but I think especially in a time like this where we are seeing, quite quick shifts in consumer behavior, we really need to understand the field that we're playing in. And that sort of having that sort of understanding and market insight is really important. I'd also say it helps in being challenged by an external party. We run into clients, we run into companies who say, well, why can't I do this myself? One of the interesting points from us is that we're able to bring that outside level of expertise and knowledge and really help people and push them and challenge them a bit more.
Matt, is information typically global, or can clients gain, say, regional insights?
Yeah, it's a good question. One of the interesting aspects when a company's trying to innovate or grow in a market, it's really important that they look externally, not just A, within their own market, but B, also within their own category. We talk quite often to cross-category innovation and cross-country inspiration. So it's really important that we're able to sort of provide those expertise that means that we operate in a lot of countries and we get that research from a lot of countries. We've got a product database, which we're in over 86 countries, and we're actually just about to launch a new offering where we've got consumer understanding, global consumer, we call it, in 35 countries, where we've chosen the top 35 countries based on GDP. So that to us is key, and it really does sort of provide that expertise. We also exist in a lot of markets, and I think one of the strengths of that is that we can actually start to really get an understanding, especially in a time like COVID, of how countries are potentially moving out of it to create a model to be able to speak to our customers. So we've got somewhere like China, which is coming back to, I would say, a sense of new normal. I won't call it normal, but we're able to see how China as an economy and as a country with regards to consumers are behaving so that we can start to advise our clients around the world in different markets how recovery might look. Now, it's obviously not a like-for-like replacement, but there are some ways that countries are coming out of it that we can sort of start to use in our research and insight.